One of the only things that may be holding you back in life from living how you want to live and being who you want to be, it may just be how you think about yourself. We tend to prescribe these labels to ourselves. We think, I am fat, I am unworthy, I am uncoordinated, I am not smart. We think about these thoughts and we prescribe these labels to ourselves, and we tend to just believe them. I want you to realize that when you were born as a blank slate. You didn't know anything about anything. You had no self-judgment. You were not critical about yourself. You had no limitations. I mean, if you look at a baby, you think this person could be anything. Like when they grow up, they can do anything, they can be anything, they can live whatever life they want to live. We see that within a baby, but we tend to not see that within ourselves. Now, I've talked to hundreds of people one-on-one, and I have found that they are simply caught up with these thoughts and these labels that they tell themselves about who they are, and they believe them. So let's demystify all of this, let's disprove some myths, and let's be able to, after this video, walk away with a different perspective and a different outlook on who we actually are. So I want to do this exercise. Fill in the blank here, okay? I am blank. I am fat. I am unathletic. I am a Democrat. I am a Republican. What are these blanks that you fill in about yourself? Who are you? And I want you to realize this. Somebody who says, I am fat, are they actually fat? Do they maybe have some more fat on their body than they want? Maybe. But are they fat? They say, oh, well, I am David. That's my name. Am I David? It sounds so silly to say, like, I'm not David, right? People call me David. I'm pretty athletic, but I'm not athletic. Do you get what I'm saying here? We tend to put these labels upon ourselves and we say we are that label. I am clumsy. Like, how are you actually, like, clumsy? You know, I understand you might move in clumsy ways, like you may think of it as clumsy at times, but that's not you, right? We're digging at something deeper here. And the thing is, when you were born, you were a blank slate. You didn't think that you were clumsy. You were probably like, you know, once you start to get like a few months old, you got pretty chubby. Were you thinking to yourself, I am chubby, I am fat? Were you thinking to yourself, I am uncoordinated? I mean, when you were born, you couldn't grab things. You didn't know how to use your arms or your legs. You couldn't walk. Were you thinking to yourself that you're a failure and you're never going to be able to walk ever again? I want you to realize what happened in between this time when we were a blank slate and when we had infinite potential and today. What happened? Well, experience happened. Language happened. We began to learn how to think. We understood the English language, and we began to think thoughts to ourselves. Our parents told us certain things about ourselves. We did certain things and we got certain results. Maybe we got certain successes. Maybe we got certain failures. And as time went on in our lives, we started to prescribe these labels to ourselves. So first of all, you are not anything. You are not these labels that you think to yourself. That's not actually you, right? Because if one day you say you are fat, and then you start hitting the gym and dieting, and then 6 months later you are at the exact weight that you want to be, if you were fat before, how are you not fat now? You are who you are, right? These are just labels that we are using to describe ourselves, when really it's not pointing towards who we are, it's more pointing towards an opinion and a belief that we hold about ourselves. So throughout this time, when you were a blank slate up until today, you gathered up all of this information and you learned, in this case, if you're listening to this video, the English language. You began to be able to think about all of these things, all of these experiences. You gathered all of this information and you started to apply these labels to yourself. The thing is that so many people are living their lives and they're not happy, or they think down or less than about themselves, and they are just simply believing it. But I want you to know that you are something more than these thoughts that you think about yourself. You are more than a doctor. You are more than a teacher. You are more than a son or a daughter or a parent. You're more than that. And I'm not just saying that you are more labels. I'm saying that when I ask you to fill in the blank and you say, I am blank, I want you to realize what's happening there. Well, first of all, you are basing that label off of your past. Second of all, what's happening is that you are thinking these thoughts. You are thinking, I am, and then another thought. These thoughts are arising within consciousness, and you are aware of those thoughts. That is the only way that you could ever tell me, after doing that exercise, I am whatever. So what are you? If you are aware of these thoughts, what is being aware of them? That is who you actually are. Some people call that consciousness, some people call that awareness, some people call that spirit, right? Or just being human, right? You are something that is beyond all of these things that you think about yourself. And a lot of people find themselves sort of on this personal development path where they're trying to change those labels. So they think to themselves, I am unworthy, and they want to change that to I am worthy. So they, for instance, do affirmations, which is a huge thing that people do, and they never really worked for me because whenever I said them, I didn't actually believe them. I wanted some evidence. And what we can do is we can find evidence that we are beyond who we think we are, beyond these labels. Typically, that comes from presence. That comes from building up this awareness that you are not your ego. You are not these labels that you place upon yourself. Presence is what allows us to separate the here and now from the past and the future. And in this case, we're particularly talking about the past because you have gone through all of these experiences and you have prescribed these judgments and these beliefs about yourself to yourself. So most of my videos come down to this, and that's that being present is what allows you to be able to see past all of these negative and positive judgments that we have about ourselves. How do we disconnect from this way that we're thinking about who we are and about how life is and how life's been and how life's going to be? Well, that comes through presence, through stillness. So right now I am here, I'm in the woods, I'm holding my camera. This is my life. Beyond this, we can say a zillion things happened in my past. We can say a zillion things will be happening in my future. But truly, what's happening now is that I am simply here. You are simply here watching this. I understand you have this mind that brings up the past and the future constantly. I understand that you bring up these thoughts about yourself constantly, but you are observing, you are able to observe all of that. So are you truly who you have been making yourself out to be? Can we, from this moment on, begin to be more conscious of what is arising within our minds, these labels that we are placing upon ourselves, and instead just be simply aware of those labels? So when you think to yourself, I am, fill in the blank, instead of actually identifying with those labels, we realize that we are thinking them, that they are thoughts arising within consciousness. And I come back to this example quite often, and that's that 5-year-old little girl believes that she is unworthy, believes that she will never amount to anything, and believes that she has zero potential. These thoughts are arising within her mind because of what she's gone through, because of maybe what her parents instilled into her, because of the failures that she's had in the past. And she starts to think these thoughts, but is that true? Is it true that she is unworthy? Is it true that she doesn't have any potential? It's silly for us to be able to even think that that could be true. We know it's not. But the thing is that the same thing goes for yourself. So when you think about who you are, I want you to realize that you can think all of these thoughts about who you are, whether they're negative or positive. And you can realize that you are actually beyond all of it. and that they are just thoughts arising within your mind, these beliefs that you hold, and that just because you may have gathered these beliefs and believed them due to certain things that happened in the past, well, in this present moment, you can always restart. You are always refreshed right now, and you can begin to operate in different ways. You can begin to give yourself evidence on why those labels are false or why they are true if they're positive, and you can begin to behave differently. That is the potential that we all have. In each and every present moment, we can start over. We can begin again. And the more presence that we have, the easier this is to do. The less identified with thoughts that we are, the easier it is to see those thoughts for what they are, along with the emotions that come with them. So what I think would be best for you is to watch this video that I'm going to put up there. This video is going to perfectly align with this one on how we then use the present moment in order to sort of refresh, in order to start over, and in order to create something differently, to be different, to operate in a different way, to think, feel, and behave in a different way so that we can get new results, so that we can then, with those new results, have new evidence so that we can totally prove to ourselves, not just that we're more than those thoughts, but that those labels, those negative labels that we were prescribing to ourselves are not true. That is the task of each and every present moment. And in order for you to be able to literally be a different version of yourself and live differently and create the life that you want, which is why we're here, this is the next step. It's not personal development. It's not you trying to trick yourself with affirmations or anything like that. It's about you being able to really see things clearly, being able to see you for who you truly are, moving beyond these labels and becoming more aware, becoming more conscious, and simply operating from that space. That's what that video is going to teach you. I will also link the video beneath this video in the description. I hope you enjoy, move on, take the next step, and watch that video, and I'll see you in there. Bye.